We have Lisa Betts and her mother, Nina Betts, is that correct? Here, they're the landowners out there at the top end of the project, and I'm sure we'll have something to say here in a few minutes, but let me give you some background first. Have been in contact with Steve Chick with the Natural Resources Conservation Service, and he's been in contact with folks in the Department of Ag in Washington, and they are wanting us, the North Platte NRD, to reaffirm support for the project, and that needs to be done tonight, or the money for the project may disappear. It's stimulus money that was received for the project, and that money has to be obligated next September, no later than next September. Is that correct,
Yeah.
Dallas? Yeah. But at this point, they want to know exactly what the NRD board would like to do with regard to this, and if we want to proceed, that we reaffirm that. I have to give an answer to Steve Chick tomorrow morning.
Would you like to address the issue there this time?
Yes, I would. My name is Lisa Betts. My mother Nina is the owner of the land. The land transferred to her ownership in December upon my grandfather's passing away. We are new landowners, and therefore this is fairly new to us, since just recently we received the project plan according to the 1961 documentation. We've been working hard to acclimate ourselves with the project and the plans and the necessity for the project. We have always looked at the land that is being considered as part of a national monument in terms of a visual sense. If you've ever seen it, you would probably agree that visually it's part of the monument on the south part of the bluff there. And it's always been our intention to make it part of the monument. We never dreamed that by keeping the land in private ownership that it would be at risk for a project like this that would include a 300-foot wide easement of destruction a mile long throughout the middle of our completely pristine prairie. So we're concerned, okay, about that. We understand that there have been problems with flash flooding, but not consistently. The documentation I've received is 48 years old, and this project was worked on and finished, well, I should say left unfinished, in the 70s at some point. And if the project, our leg of it, our final part of the project, were so important to the, crucial to this plan for the floodplain, then I'd like you to help me understand why for the last 40 years it hasn't been a priority. I think logically that's a good question to ask. Because of that, I think there may be some room for you to consider leaving my portion of the land out of the project. And we would appreciate if you would consider that. It's not because we are tree huggers, it's because we feel that the land belongs to the monument on a visual level. And I know that you all feel that the destruction of this prairie would be minimal because it's more important to do this project. But anytime that a person or anyone disturbs the native prairie grasses and disturbs the natural native wildlife and vegetation that's there, you know as well as I do that there's weeds, there are problems, and the prairie will never return back to that natural state. And so, while you may not care as much as I care about the prairie, I would urge you, and I ask that you give serious consideration to leaving our land out of the project. Now, that leaves the problem of the flooding. There is a ditch on that property at the foot that could be examined and perhaps redesigned and shored up for consideration of handling an unplanned for rainfall event. And I would like you to consider possibly using that part of what's there instead of destroying something that could be part of the monument and should be, okay? There may be other ways to explore helping the flood issue that you're concerned about and helping the ditch issue that you're concerned about, and I ask you please to consider that, okay? Another thing I'd like to ask, if I may, is that you allow another public meeting to be held so that the public can comment on this once again. The last one, as I understand, was held in 2006, and I was not, nor was my mother, able to attend or even aware of it, and the land has changed hands now, and we would like to participate in that process.
So there hasn't been anything done except planning.
There's some easements that have already been acquired. Some of those were acquired some time back, but there's not been any condemnation.
You know, haven't bought any land for right of way or anything like that?
What's that?
Haven't bought any land for right of way? The easements wouldn't be purchased, is that right?
We'll probably need to purchase some of the easements yet to get this done, yes.
What is the damages that happens when there is flood at that time?
Well, there was quite a bit of documentation before any project was put in about damage to cropland, roads, bridges, that sort of thing, from big storm events. A lot of the project has been completed now. I would comment that the diversion, the design that we have, shows a 41-foot wide diversion with 150-foot right-of-way, transitioning to a 71-foot diversion with a still 150-foot right-of-way, except where we cross a ravine, where we widened it out. We are not sure if we need that much right-of-way at this time, but it was just something that we went by, so we're not sure of that. Everything we have is preliminary at this point on it. Anyway, the event coming down, that Gearing-Fort Laramie Canal would not have capacity to handle that. It would reach the canal at some point, and then you'd have the canal and the flood at whatever point that chief chooses to breach. That canal also wraps around, comes into town. We don't want to route a flood into town, so that's probably not a real good alternative.